On behalf of all of the staff in IA and certainly our Alumni Association, we welcome all of you to this luncheon. I'm only going to say a few words and then we're going to have you continue to eat, but there are a few people that I would like to recognize at this time. Certainly, and first and foremost, our president, Eric Bitterbaum. Eric, I just saw you walking around. Where are you? He went out for food. There we go. He's accompanied today by his wife, Ellen Howard Burton. Ellen, everyone knows. We also have the newly appointed and elected Your Alumni President, Judy Wolf. Judy. And we're also honored this afternoon to have one of our emeriti faculty join us, and that's Richard Miller, Professor Emeriti of Chemistry, sitting right over here. A little later on in the program, of course, we're going to be recognizing the new inductees into the different Alumni Award recognitions. But we do have some folks that are also here that won awards in the past, and I want to acknowledge them. Interesting enough, you may see some of those names come up again. First off, in our distinguished alumni, we have Lawrence Fielding, class of '66. Wave if you're there. You are, way back there. And George Jones, also class 56. George. In terms of distinguished young alumni, these are two individuals you will be hearing from a little later because they are going to get recognized for their distinguished alumni contributions here, and that is our very own Ed Zambraski, class 71, who was a young alumni, distinguished alumni, and Lynn Wecker, class 69, was also one of our young alumni. We also have two outstanding young volunteers, or just outstanding alumni volunteers. And our very own Harry Ballardini over there, back in the back, class 56. Harry. And Joan Lombardi Peck, class of 56. We had a little competitive contest yesterday, our annual golf outing, and we do have the winners of that somewhere here. Here they are. They shot an impressive 58, and it was the Hamilton Building Services team, who were also our major sponsor, so that's one way to sponsor and then win the event. And the winning team was Eric Barden, Jeff Armstrong, Brian Melchek, and Dirk Van Patten. So we congratulate them on their... I also want to take the time, I did this last year, and I think it's really worthwhile to always recognize those who have served their country. And so I would like to take just a moment to ask any of our veterans who are in the room this afternoon to please stand and be recognized. We will be bringing Eric up in a little bit, but for now, we want you to go back to enjoying your meal and your conversation, and we'll be starting the program just about when you're doing your dessert. Thank you.
Welcome again to Alumni Reunion Weekend. I'm Erin Boylan. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni Engagement. Before we kick off our program, I just wanted to take a minute. I was remiss in giving Peter two names. We have Marion Bonnie Yates Buckner, class of 41, and Paul Farty, class of 63, both distinguished alumni with us today. Thank you. Well, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to our new Alumni Association president, Mrs. Judy M. Wolf, class of 84.
Thank you, Erin, and I join Erin and the rest of the staff and volunteers for thanking you all for being here to celebrate with us. Before I begin pouring through these 12 to 15 pages of notes, I would love to ask you to pause and remember emeriti who have passed since we last gathered for reunion. Thank you very much. It is my great pleasure to be here with you today and to join you in celebrating the anniversary of your graduation from our school. As a very new Alumni Board president, one of my favorite responsibilities is meeting and greeting alumni and hearing stories from your life and days on our campus. As I make my way through the next 2 years, I hope that you will be in touch with me, with our fine staff, our wonderful volunteers, and our board. It would be my pleasure to hear from you and to receive feedback on all that we offer and to gather your concerns and suggestions for future programs and events. During the next 2 years, I hope that I will be able to increase the size and diversity of our board in order to ensure that all of our graduates have a voice. Additionally, I plan to partner with the college and our talented staff to ensure that you all are receiving the type and quality of programming and services to foster a sense of connection and excellence that you need and want and deserve. If I can accomplish these two modest goals, I believe I will have served the college and you, our alumni, very well. In advance, I appreciate your support and share that I am so proud to be here celebrating with you. So thank you very much. And now it is my privilege to introduce our esteemed president, Dr. Eric Bitterbaum. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming. So I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our 7 honorees this afternoon. And so what we did is we asked, and I'm going to do it in alphabetical order as they're in your booklet. And I think it's alphabetical. I didn't really check, but I'm going to do it in that direction. I just realized it's not. I'm just thinking of the names in my head. But what I will share with you is that we asked each of them if, before they come up and accept their award and share some thoughts with you, if they would share some ideas with me that we could introduce them with. So the first one, sadly, is posthumously, and this is Matt Franjola, but we're very fortunate to have his 2 lovely daughters here and friends. And so Claire, when she learned that her father was nominated and was going to receive this award, shared with the alumni office some really interesting thoughts. So I'd like to read what she had to say. Mike Kendall, my dad's bunkmate for 2 years, shared some stories with me, and I've included my own knowledge of my dad's experience at Cortland and how it helped shape the rest of his life. At the time, and maybe still today, physical education majors had to take physics, a class that my dad and his fellow physical education friends dreaded. It was difficult for them to sit through this class, So my dad came up with a way to keep him and his friends attentive. The class was in a large amphitheater where the professor stands at the bottom, so that whenever the professor hit a certain landmark on each side of the room, my dad marked it down. He started a betting game with his friends where they would see how many times the professor would hit the markers. My dad would keep tally, and at the end of the class, all his friends would hurry to gather outside to see who had won. I'm sure the physics professors today are much more stimulating for their students. While he wasn't interested in physics, he was fascinated with courses in sports physiology, anatomy, and biology. The abilities and complexities of the human body amazed him. He retained this knowledge for decades and put it to good use as he faced serious health issues. His medical history could be turned into a textbook. Even in the last years of his life, he was sharp as a tack when it came to understanding medical jargon. I once asked him how he was so medically fluent, and he replied that he remembered it all from college. As a physical education major, he was also required to learn various sports, tennis being one of them. At the time, he felt that tennis wasn't a real sport and always dismissed it. However, it was tennis that he ended up playing regularly while in Southeast Asia and in Africa. And he also went on to win several gold medals for men's single tennis in the United States Transplant Games. Because he learned to teach a variety of sports, he was able to connect with people wherever he went. He received a job at Pacific Architects and Engineers after talking about competitive swimming during the interview. My dad came from a simple upbringing in Long Island where there were still farms separating the houses. He was an athlete, but much more, he wasn't at that time an academic, but he eventually became much more fluent. He loved sports, and Cortland seemed to be the perfect school to combine teaching and sports. The in-state tuition was certainly a plus, seeing as how he didn't even have enough money to have proper tube socks. His high school football track coach noticed he would wear his church dress socks to practice, so he gave him a pair of socks, a gesture he wouldn't understand until he was able to see his humble start from a wider perspective. Around his junior year of college, Mike says, this is when something very noticeable started to change in my father. It turns out he discovered he was pretty smart. When the other guys around the fraternity would talk about sports, he would initiate conversations about politics, current events, and different ideas. During his senior year, my dad and a few friends hopped in a car without packing any bags or winter coats and headed straight for Washington, D.C. to attend John F. Kennedy's funeral. They watched the casket being pulled by the horse-drawn hearse as heads of state from around the world hung their heads low. My dad wanted to experience history. As a cliche as this might sound, Mike believes that Cortland opened his mind and made him interested in the world outside of his immediate comfort zone. My dad was defiant that upon graduation, he wasn't going to get married and have a 2-car garage and 2.5 kids. Ironically, he did have 2 kids. He went to the Peace Corps. He was training to go to Hawaii. It didn't work out. And so last night we happened to have dinner with Claire and Alex, and something rather unique happened. He discovered he had this amazing ability with language. He was a gifted writer, so he ended up working for the Associate Press. And just to give you an idea of the languages he spoke, he was fluent in Thai, Khmer, which is spoken in Cambodia, Lao, which is spoken in Laos, and Vietnamese. And it actually, I learned last night that he saved Ed Bradley's life from 60 Minutes when he swung his camera at a man who was about to shoot Ed Bradley. And he was actually one of the last reporters, correspondents, I guess you would say, to leave Vietnam on the roof of the embassy. So as it turns out, about 15 years ago, a Cortland Phys Ed faculty member nominated him for this outstanding award. And he received the form, and he was supposed to list his achievements, and apparently he refused to do it. because he didn't think he was exceptional. Matter of fact, he says, the only exceptional thing that I do is I take my two daughters when they fall asleep on the couch up to their bedrooms. But as it turns out, one of his classmates, Paul Fardy, realized what a very special person he was and wrote a wonderful tribute. And so we are honoring Matt Franjola this afternoon. So I would ask his two daughters to come up and to accept the things that we have for you. And if you have anything you'd like to say, you're welcome to do that.
We're just so happy to be part of this. I have to say, I'm so very touched to be honored for having an honorable, exceptional parent in our lives, parents plural, and I'm speechless. It's a hard act to follow when you go through a life that was so full and inspiring and exceptional, and it all started here. And I think that that first taste you get upon leaving high school and going into college shows you so much about who you are as a person. And we really honor Cortland for that, for bringing out this part of him that he had never met before, and for all the incredible friends and alumni and colleagues and Paul and Judith Fardy, who we're here because of them, and obviously Cortland, and I thank you for changing our lives. I mean it.
Next, I have the honor to present Lynn Wecker. So first and foremost, I believe without a doubt that I'm doing what I do because of Cortland. I would not be doing what I do today if it were not for the faculty in the chemistry department. Doctors Miller, Phillips, Zip, Jeffers, and Fink all had a major and profound influence on me. Richard Miller, would you stand, Dick? So just want you so you see the person. So Richard Miller was my advisor freshman year, and I recall fondly that he genuinely cared. Unfortunately, we don't find that characteristic too often in professors teaching freshman courses. He was my first foray into the chemistry department, and I have only the fondest memories of our interactions. And we love as faculty to be recognized. It doesn't happen often, so I now know how precious that is. Gail Phillips was a true role model as the only female chemistry faculty member. We became very close during my days in college, and I actually lived in her house my sophomore year and took care of her daughter, Bobby. Gail was always very encouraging, and I'm sorry that she is no longer with us to share this day. I got to know Arden Zip, Peter Jeffers, and Charlie Fink originally through my coursework, but because I spent so much of my life in the chemistry laboratories, I saw them more often than most of my friends. It is also important to mention that I began my first trip into research with Charlie Fink and spent the summer between my junior and senior year doing research in the laboratory with him. From that time on, I was hooked. When I went to college, I planned on becoming a high school chemistry teacher, but Charlie Fink changed all that, and I'm forever grateful. It was also during this time that I met Peter Eisenhart, who was 2 years ahead of me. Pete and I became very close friends, a relationship that grew even stronger when I was at the University of Florida pursuing graduate work in pharmacology, and where Peter was pursuing a graduate studies in medicinal chemistry. In addition to my memories of chemistry, I also recall the times I spent at the tavern with friends and the warm friendships I made at Alpha Delta. I also grew up a lot during my time in Cortland, and recall being active in SDS, that's Students for a Democratic Society, and attending the anti-Vietnam March in Washington, D.C. during my junior year. I might just say parenthetically that I've gotten to know Lynn a little bit. She's very modest. She's actually a world-class researcher. She works on brain chemistry. She's going to Washington a lot. She has lots of graduate students. And so we're very honored to honor Lynn Wecker.
I can't tell you all what an honor it is for me to be here, because I truly believe that this is where I began my career. I have really the greatest memories, as Eric just told you, about my life at Cortland. It was a time, I came up here from Long Island, and I grew up, if you can't tell from my accent, by the way, which they call me a damn Yankee still, living in the South. It was worse when I lived in Nashville than in Florida. But it really, I think the foundation that I got here, my love of teaching, my love of university, I've only known the university life. People say, what do you do? I said, I've never left school from the time I'm 5. I'm just on the other side of the podium now. So it's really interesting. As I mentioned, the faculty in the chemistry department had a really profound influence on my life, and I know from personal experience all too well how there are faculty who really don't care as much about their students as they really should, and nobody should really go into teaching at any level unless they have a true passion for it. So I really, I just do what I love. I hope that what I do has had an impact upon others the same way that the faculty here has had an impact on my life. And thank you so very, very much.
Congratulations. I have to tell you, this is fun to do. Next, I have Edward J. Zambraski. Let me share with you what he shared. If I were asked to describe my experience as a Cortland undergraduate, I would sum it up as, and this is within quotes, tremendous and unique opportunities. I am sure that I could have obtained a similar degree at many other colleges, but I am convinced that I would not have been afforded the opportunities that Cortland provided. And then he gives a series of examples. First, financial support. Having to pay for my own education, I had a Regent scholarship which paid for my tuition. In addition, for 3 years, I was a resident assistant, an RA, in Shea Hall, which provided room and board. I graduated debt-free. So you owe me some money, Ed. No. Athletics. I was given the opportunity to walk on and made the team for 2 sports that I had never played in high school, lacrosse and soccer. Quite amazing. A teaching assistantship. During my junior and senior years, Dr. Alexander Spence, who taught anatomy and physiology, provided me a teaching assistantship to teach his A&P lab sections. Dr. Spence was a superb mentor. It was a great experience, and I learned that I really liked teaching physiology. Service to the community. While at Cortland, a group of us started a new service fraternity, Lambda Pi Delta. We not only did a lot of service projects for the Cortland community, but it was also we were able to purchase Wickwire Hall. I should add that Lambda Phi Delta no longer exists, but its first president, Lance McAllister, initiated a successful effort with former members to establish a fund called the Cortland Service Scholarship Award, which we, of course, still have today. And then there was Dr. Robert Weber. Dr. Weber was the men's physical education chair. He provided me a unique experience and significant guidance. I was appointed as the sole student representative on what was the future of the division committee, which at that time was health, recreation, and physical education. It was an honor to serve with faculty on a committee to identify which programs were going to be crucial for the college and what resources would be needed to make them successful. My understanding was that the work of this committee was important to the decisions being made at Albany to fund the construction of the Park Center. Also, while at Cortland, I had very little exposure to research, but I knew that I wanted to obtain an advanced degree in physiology. Dr. Weber was a graduate of the University of Iowa. Because of its renowned physiology graduate program, he suggested that I apply. With his support, I was not only admitted, but I also received a fellowship which paid for my PhD. All these opportunities and experiences had a tremendous influence. They have shaped me professionally and personally. Ed, would you join us up here? I'll hold on to this.
Thank you, Dr. Bitterbaum. My career has been a little bit different than many people in that after getting my degree in physiology, I joined the faculty at Rutgers and was there for 27 years doing medical research, kidney cardiovascular disease. Then after that, I retired, but the Army Medical Corps, asked me to come and direct a military performance division up in Natick, Massachusetts, where there's a small Army installation just outside of Boston. And I told my wife I'd be there for 1 year, maybe 2. I wound up being there for about 11. And what we had to do, the division that I was in charge of, was to address any medical problems, performance problems, physical or cognitive performance problems, and to do research to address those issues. And I'd like to relay a short story that relates to this award with regard to that. Now, this installation was relatively small, about 2,500, and as far as the Army goes, compared to Fort Bragg with 50,000 soldiers and civilians, it was, very, very minuscule. And we were not often visited by high command, particularly 4-star generals. The first 8 years I was there, I think we had 1 visit from a 4-star general. The last 3 that I was there, we had 4 visits from 4-star generals, including General Odierno, the Chief of Staff of the Army, and Mr. McHugh, the Secretary of the Army. And the reason was we were responsible for doing what's called a physical demand study, determine the physical demands required of a soldier who is in combat, the infantry, the artillery, the engineers, the armor. And we started a series of studies to see how hard is it, what do I have to do to be successful to do those jobs and not to get hurt. So this was a responsibility that I had with the division. And so one of these visits from a 4-star general during this 3-year period came up, and the local command, a 1-star general, was very nervous about this. Like, hope everything goes well, and they orchestrate it and they rehearse it and everything, and they never had a problem with me giving briefs because I learned how to teach and I could communicate reasonably well. So that was not an issue, but making sure nothing went wrong when the general visited. So picture this, we're standing in the laboratory and the general's facing me, and behind the general are the local staff, the 1-star general, and the general introduces us, Dr. Zambraski, and I say, glad to meet you, and I said, I should tell you, we have a couple things in common. And the general sort of looks at me kind of inquisitively, and I look behind the general, and there's about 20 people there, and their faces are going blank. Pure panic, like, what could he possibly have in common with a 4-star general? Okay, what's Zambraski going to say? Okay, I hope he doesn't say something stupid or corny, and it's going to upset the general. So I said to the general, I said, well, first off, we both graduated from Cortland, and I was a few years before you, all right? And she's okay. And I said, and the second is we both shared the pleasure and the honor of receiving the Alumni Award, because I had received it in '81. So she looks at me and she goes, well, yes, we do have some things in common. The people behind, all of a sudden, their faces went to big smiles, like, okay, this is gonna go well. And so we chatted about Cortland, her playing tennis, me playing lacrosse, and some other things. And then after a few minutes, she's, okay, tell me about your work. And so I'll just reiterate what she said. Receiving this award is a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
That was great, Ed. Thank you. Good for you. Next, I have the honor of introducing Jamie Piperato. First, I would like to thank the SUNY Cortland Alumni Board, and specifically the Awards and Recognition Committee, for this honor. In addition, I would like to extend my thanks to my friend and mentor, Noel Chaddock, for nominating me for this honor. As I reflect back on my years at SUNY Cortland, there are moments of happiness, struggle, love, tears, and inspiration. And I'm sure this is a common experience for many who are sitting in this room today. During my time at SUNY Cortland, I had the privilege of navigating multiple areas of campus, probably more than the average student. I was actively involved in the Office of Multicultural Life and Diversity, the women's basketball team, she was our center, Residence Life and Housing, and the Student Government Association. I should just say parenthetically again, Jamie was the president of the student body, and I would visit with her, or she'd visit with me once a month, trying to solve important issues on campus. In addition to my life outside of the classroom, I was committed to my academics and found meaningful lessons not only about the topics we were learning in class, but my life in general. My professors, many who are still working on campus today, were devoted to expanding our worldviews and succeeded by modeling the way Cortland is in a very short time for me. It became a place that I could be my authentic self and live my truth. It is obvious to anyone who steps on campus that the people who live and work at Cortland are the ones who should be honored every day. They were the ones who listened to us, allow us to vent on their couches in their office. They were the ones who believed in us before we knew there was something to believe in. They were the ones who held our hands when we felt pain. They were the ones who, even when we graduated, ensured that we took a little bit of Cortland with us. To this day, I remember each person who showed me kindness, love, and support. I owe a huge part of who I am to my time at SUNY Cortland. I learned what it meant to lead. I learned what it meant to take a stand for what I believe in. I met the love of my life, Sarah, at Cortland. I met lifelong friends at Cortland. And I discovered a career path that to this day has allowed me to truly be authentic and stay true to my personal values. To pick any specific memories at Cortland to represent the spirit of my time would be difficult. Difficult not because there aren't numerous ones, but because there wasn't a day during my time that I was not supported, challenged, and uplifted to become the person I am today. So I will leave you all with this. I am a true red dragon in every sense of the title, and I will continue to share the spirit of love, community, commitment, and leadership that I learned to embrace as a member of this community. Thank you. So Jamie, come on up. I'll hold on to this.
All right. How's everyone doing? So I wanted to try this just to ease into this, but I'm going to say red and y'all are going to say dragon. Does that sound cool to you? So red, red, red. All right. So this is dangerous also to allow me to be up here with a microphone. Just wanted to say that. And so I have a couple of words prepared, and I just wanted to take this time to say this. So first, thank you. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for this award. There are numerous people who are sitting in this room, who work on this campus, who can also stand here today to receive this award. And so thank you for choosing me. I appreciate that. So last night, I was talking to a young alum, younger than me, 2016, so only a couple of months out. And I tweeted this out, so folks who are following me on Twitter, you already know what I'm about to say. But he was describing why he was here and where he was working. His name was Pat, and he described Cortland perfectly. He was excited, passionate, and he said, Cortland, it's home. And I think we can all understand that. We can all relate to that. And I think sometimes when I talk about Cortland to other folks, it's hard to put that into words, right? It's a feeling that you get when you come onto campus. And so instead of me trying to describe to you all a feeling that I know you all feel as well, I'd like for you all to go through this activity with me, if you would. And this is what I do by trade, so I'm sorry that this is what you have to endure. But if you feel comfortable and if you are able, if you can close your eyes for me, I'm going to read a couple of statements. And so I'd like for you, with your eyes closed, to picture your first day on campus. I'd like to remember what day it was, remember what hall you were moving into, what class you might have been walking to. Remember the first person you had lunch with. Remember the first time that you surprised yourself by overcoming something, by achieving something, by doing something. Remember the people who supported you. Remember the friends that stayed up at long hours of the night, either doing homework or just talking or getting into mischief. Remember friends who you cried with. Remember your friends who helped you out when you got into a pickle. Remember those who you might have pledged with. Remember your first Cortica. Remember the moments of excitement you experienced, the moments of sadness, and the moments of warmth. And you can open your eyes now. I think that feeling and those memories speak for itself. And it's okay that all of those feelings and the way that we might define home is different for each and one of us. So keep that, hold that dear. And I want to thank, in closing, just thank the Alumni Engagement Office. I want to thank Sarah, my partner, who's the biggest support of my life. Grace and Christine for coming, best friends. Thank you all, and thank the administration, staff. I think it's important to recognize that we are part of a community, part of a campus that not only provides support and access, but it also empowers people to be the best version of themselves. So thank you.
Congratulations. This is for you to keep. Next, I have the honor of introducing Carolyn Cook, class of '66, but I know her as Cookie, and a very special person. So this was a brief thought that she wanted me to share. Though it has been 50+ years since arriving at Cortland as a student, I do have many vivid memories. The academic program was challenging with some wonderful instructors. The college was small enough that we knew and were somewhat friendly with most everyone in our classes. Through our clubs, sports activities, Greek life, and various living situations, we knew many in other classes as well. Friends that I made here at Cortland are still part of my life. I view that as a blessing. And then there was the snow. That seems to be one topic that connects Cortland students of any era. I like to believe that Cortland helped us build character and establish camaraderie. Carolyn?
Shorty needs to get up here. The last time I found myself on a stage at a Cortland event, I actually fell off the end of the stage and landed in the president's lap. True story. I really am very thankful for this award, and I thank Linda Gadkowski, my classmate, and the committee for nominating me. It's a joy, that's all I can say. I don't really look at anything as work. I'm on the alumni board, and it's the camaraderie there, and the things that we do are just, out there for everyone. And through my work with the sorority scholarship and the alumni board scholarships, I've had a chance to meet a lot of the present day students, and I just want to tell all of you it is a fabulous place here now. These students are out of sight wonderful, and they're so very appreciative of everything that the alums do for them. and the money that we contribute that helps the programs, and for many of them to achieve a college degree. It really means a lot. And so all of that work has just been fun. I don't consider it work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Okay. Next, I have the honor of introducing Jim Codaspoti. My years at Cortland were filled with great experiences and challenges. Outstanding teachers and coaches provided the role models that helped shape my professional attitude and led to a satisfying and rewarding 37-year teaching and coaching career at Merrineck High School. Being a 4-year member of the basketball and track and field teams, playing intramurals, being a dormitory counselor, and a member of the Beta Phi Epsilon fraternity were activities that significantly impacted my personal and professional life. But best of all, I met Lois, class of '64, my wife and best friend for 50-plus years, Jim Codaspoti.
I am honored to be recognized as an outstanding alumni volunteer by SUNY Cortland, whose teachers, coaches, and alumni have been such an important part of my personal and professional life. I would like to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to Sandy Morley and to Dr. Paul Fardy for the nomination and letters of support. My special thanks to my wife Lois, class of '64, for her love and encouragement in all my volunteer efforts, especially Cortland. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge the C Club Board of Directors, truly dedicated individuals who promote the C Club mission on behalf of SUNY Cortland and its student athletes. I am honored to be part of the C Club and look forward to many more years of service. Thank you for this wonderful honor.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I can assure you, last but not least, Ralph Shortell. These are Ralph's comments. I arrived on campus early in September 1962 along with other student athletes to help co-eds move into the new big quad dorms. College staff told us what fun it would be, meeting new friends and classmates. They neglected to tell us that there were no elevators and that we would have to carry clothes, suitcases, boxes, etc., up from 1 to 3 flights of stairs to get to the co-ed rooms. At the end of move-in day, I remember all of us being rich with tips from parents, but being so exhausted that we didn't go down to celebrate at the tavern. The opening orientation assembly in the auditorium was an eye-opener. Dean Metzger, the Dean of Students, asked us to look at the student on our left and on our right, and proceeded to remind us that 2 of you may not be here at the end of the year. Preparation and studying will get you further than card playing in Brockway or spending too much time downtown. This was my first dose of reality in college, and little did I know that there would be many more educational moments during my 4 years and 2 summers of academic study. I believe that learning was 1 part textbook and 2 parts social life, consequently my attendance in summer school. As a student, I enjoyed classes and was very involved with the friends that I made. I took every advantage to participate in campus life, in athletics, special interest clubs, and fraternity life, Delta Kappa Beta. Participation in extracurricular activities provided me with the opportunity to develop leadership and organizational skills, and to search for who I was and who I wanted to be. I have fond memories of my 4 years, classes with the recreation education faculty and students, sadly November 22nd, 1963, Saturday date nights at the Hollywood, jam sessions with Ronnie Dio and the Prophets, skiing at Greek Peak, homecoming, water balloon fights, and composite raids at sororities. I'll have to ask them what are composite raids. Concerts in Moffett Gym, club meetings and events, Hellenic Sing and Moving Up Day exercises, football, basketball, and lacrosse games, and wrestling matches, Saturday morning classes, which I should add we no longer have, washing dishes in Newbig, Racket Lake Rec Camp, Senior Week 1966, graduation, summer school, and many more. I am grateful for the faculty and administration who guided and helped prepare me for the successes I have been fortunate to experience in my career and life. Special thanks and admiration and remembrance of Doc Metcalf, Marcia Carlson, Lewis Hillis, and Ed Thompson as my mentors. I continue to support the college after graduating 50 years ago by participation and attendance at events, conferences, reunions, and volunteering on the alumni board and its committees. Cortland established me, my self-esteem, and my values as an educator. I gained a great deal from SUNY Cortland. It was a wonderful time, and I continue to realize how much I learned while I was here. There is something special and different about Cortland. I felt that enthusiasm and spirit in 1962, and I still feel it today. Ralph?
Thank you very much to the Alumni Association and to my classmates of the class of 1966. I would like to take a moment just to introduce my family and guests that are here today. Don't stand, but your names will be forever remembered. My son, Westbrook Shortle, my sister and her husband, Terry and Jim Saylor, and a friend and a mentor for many years, Sonia Socia. My journey did begin in life in Oneida, New York, but my real story began here at Cortland. In September of 1962, I was a wide-eyed college freshman eager to meet people, become involved, and prepare for a career in education. 4 years, and as Dr. Bitterbaum has said, 2 summer sessions later, I entered the wide world of work as a staff member of the Recreation Department in Rockville Center, New York. Followed by work experience at Ithaca College, SUNY Brockport, and the remaining 35 years at Tompkins Cortland Community College just down the road. Without the care, compassion, and professionalism of the faculty and administration and the staff, my career would not have been as successful as it was. I have many people to thank, and as has been previously mentioned, Doc Metcalf, John McPhee, Marcia Carlson, also Faye Corey, who this building is named after, and Lou Hills, who were primarily instrumental in suggesting that I enter the field of higher education, and specifically in the area of student activities and student development. It was a wonderful time for 1962 and 1966, and our class and our motto is, we did get our kicks while we were here. So in the words of Mark Twain, I never let my learning get in the way of my education. I'm flattered and humbled to be in the company of the other recipients that are here today, and my passion for the college is never ending, and every day is a good day when you're a Red Dragon. Thank you very much.
That was great.
Thank you, sir.
This is for you.
Thank you.
It's fairly obvious, but when I first met Ralph, I thought I was meeting Mark Twain. So with that, congratulations to all our award winners. And I now turn it over to, I believe, Jennifer Janes. So if Jennifer would come up. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the students, faculty, and staff at SUNY Cortland, thank you for your financial gifts to the college this year. I am pleased to announce that the total reunion giving from all groups was $224,787.40. Together, we are inspiring students to fulfill their dreams. More than ever, private funding is essential for SUNY Cortland to maintain its current level of excellence, as well as to achieve the mission-driven priorities the college has set for itself. Your gifts allow us to continue delivering an outstanding learning environment while transforming students into innovative leaders of tomorrow. Thank you to motivated alumni like you who share your time, talent, and treasures. We value your partnership and know that you are helping to make our future bright. I especially want to recognize our reunion committee members for encouraging your classmates to not only attend reunion, but also to make an investment in Cortland's future. We appreciate all those that chose to come back and give back. Thank you for believing in the future of SUNY Cortland. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, I'm happy to introduce Peter Perkins, Vice President for Institutional Advancement, who will present the reunion cups on behalf of the Cortland College Foundation.
First off, I too want to express my deepest gratitude to all of you out there that have made the contributions to the college. You've heard from the great stories from so many that were up here today about the impact. Last night at the Lambda event, a young woman was joining them. She was a recipient of their scholarship, and she came to thank them. And I think all of the Lambda brothers were just so pleased to see such a bright young lady who was excited and so appreciative of that scholarship that she came to their event last night. And I think she was, other than some of the stories you heard after the meal, she was truly touched by the gift that was made to her. And I have to say that many of our students, most of our students, quite honestly, do see and understand the sacrifice of the contributions that are made back to the college that allow them to participate and become members of the Cortland community. So we really do appreciate the contributions you make. And I also want to take this time to recognize our staff from Institutional Advancement who play such a critical role in making that happen as well. So if any of our staff are here, I know I have a few, please stand up and be acknowledged. So I am pleased to present the following awards, which we give out annually to the 3 reunion classes or affinity groups with the most generous reunion gifts. The first is the Foundation Director's Cup, which is given to the class or affinity group with the largest unrestricted class gift to the Cortland Fund, having raised a total of $22,253.50 for the Cortland Fund. The class of 1956 has earned the Foundation Director's Cup. Please come up to receive your award. Do you want to say a few words? Yeah. If I could get the class of 1956 to not go anywhere, please stay here. We are jumping out of order a little bit, but you'll understand why. The Cortland Cup, which recognizes the largest total class or affinity group gift to Cortland, this year's contribution of $52,997.55. The Cortland Cup represents to the members of the, oh, I'm sorry, I've read the wrong one. Thank you, Jen. No, hang on, this is my fault, that's my fault. It's actually even better than that. It is the President's Cup, which is given to recognize a reunion class or affinity group with the highest percentage of participation in giving. And this is really impressive, folks, for those of you who know. With a 41.67% of all graduates from that class contributing to this gift goes to the class of 1956. So. You can go now, Harry. Thank you. Well, although I was out of order, I did not spill the beans on who the next winner is, so I'm going to reread it again. It is the Cortland Cup, which recognized the largest total class gift or affinity group gift to the SUNY Cortland College, with a contribution of $52,997.55. The Cortland Cup is presented to the members of the class of 1980. So would a member of class of 1980 please come forward? Is anyone from the... Well, I guess the class of 1980 is still working out there very hard to continue to bring us gifts. So we will make sure a representative is awarded that cup. And now I think I should be inviting back up Aaron Boylan and President Bitterbaum, please.
We have an annual tradition at this luncheon that we just love. Eric makes a special presentation to our most mature alumna in attendance. And this year, our flowers go to Mrs. Marion Bonnie Yates Buckner, class of 1941. Before we get to our alma mater, we have one last line of business. I want to personally thank all of you that supported our annual raffle. Helps us do more programming like this one for all of our alumni, and we're very appreciative. Our first prize is a gift of $500, and the winner is Kay Saunders, class of 61. Our second prize is a week stay at Racket Lake. And our winner is Art Jones, 74. And you do not have to be present to win, which I think Art is recovering from being a great golfer yesterday. She's donating it back to the Kay just donated it back to the college. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, Kay. Thank you. Our third place prize is a 2-night stay at the Park Alumni House, one of our favorites. And the winner is Pete Kakris, 56. We have 3 amazing swag bags here, so I'll go through these pretty quickly. First bag goes to Ed Mahoney. Second to Donald Robel, 72. And finally, Susan Circo, 76. I think so. And finally, we have 10 hat and t-shirt combos. I'll just say now, if you don't get the right size, feel free to switch it, and your friendly staff in 209 will take care of you. First one goes to John Lennon, 76, our John Lennon. Second goes to Philip McAdam, 56. Edmund O'Mahony, must be his lucky day. Donald Roel, 72. And Muriel Margreen, 56. Pat Almeida, 66. Art Jones, 74. And 2 more. Pat Almeida gets 2 hats, 66, so we get to be her friend. Oh. And finally, Jeffrey Dillon, 73. Congratulations to our winners, and thank you again. We have Marina Goyer, a member of our Performing Arts Department, who's going to lead us through the alma mater. So please stand and join us in singing our alma mater.